Good afternoon and welcome to Morning Meets the Eye. I'm sorry that there's no music today. I keep getting copyright struck down, or at least not struck down. I've read into it. They explain that, the copyright strike isn't going to affect you in a negative manner whatsoever. It's just that somebody else is using the same music that you're using in their own videos, even though they're remixing it and turning it into their own music. I'm using Modest Mussorgsky, which is in the public domain. But because somebody in the new days is using Modest Mussorgsky and retooling it to be their own unique music, the YouTube algorithm's getting confused, and this is why I hate robots. I really wish that they would just hire some people to look this stuff over themselves, because this is getting ridiculous. I shouldn't be getting, any sort of copyright notifications for using Modest Mussorgsky. The guy has been in the ground, dead and buried for over 100 years, so this shouldn't be an issue. This shouldn't be a problem. This shouldn't. But I have this sneaky suspicion that every time something copyright appears on my channel, I get less views. I get less attention because the YouTube algorithm doesn't matter. The YouTube algorithm doesn't like copyright of anyone, sort of what have you. So here's my attempt to not do copyright today, not get copyright struck today, because I'm not using music of any sort today. I'm not even using some sound effects from like sleep sounds or something like that, because seriously, what can you do these days to not get copyright struck? It's freaking ridiculous. Like everybody owns everything and you own nothing or something akin to that. But yeah, so that's my negative connotation for YouTube today. Sorry for that, but it's just on my mind. It's just really annoying too, especially since I can't look at it in the YouTube app. I've actually got to open up the web browser, which is not as accessible as the YouTube app, and figure it out through there. Because for some reason, YouTube will alert you that you got a copyright strike, but never allow you to see the copyright strike on the YouTube app, which is just totally why? I don't understand. So that's that. Let's get into Transformers Studio Series 101 Skurge today. Skurge is a Transformer that's in the newest movie. He's supposed to be like an evil version of Optimus Prime, even though his first rendition was Thundercracker was turned into Skurge by Unicron. So there's that. It's kind of weird that they just, name the evil Optimus Prime lookalike Skurge when they have Octane and they have Nemesis Prime out there. But okay, I guess there's just more. And Motormaster's another evil Optimus Prime. And there are a lot of evil Optimus Primes out there, but there's only one Prime. Isn't that neat? They just keep coming up with so many evil leaders of things, but they only have one good leader. Well, Rodimus Prime, but nobody ever gives him any love, even though he had the worst job of all. Like, he had a difficult job. So, let's talk Skurge. Now, I like to do things first of discussing the articulation, discussing the sculpt work, and then we're going to get into my personal thoughts and feelings, and I'm going to do my best to hold back my personal thoughts and feelings until after we've discussed articulation and sculpt work. I do not have the one accessory he came with, which was I left it outside on the counter or something, outside of my studio. It's a gun barrel thing that fits in instead of this tentacle stuff. He's got this weird tentacle grasper thingamajig that you can use to come over here and harass a cat with. Rawr, rawr. It's good for harassing your cat. Isn't that right, Cream? You don't like being harassed by the thing, do you? Okay, good. You didn't knock my camera over. I thought you had. So let's go ahead and remove the core class Frieza unit from his shoulder. I don't know how I don't know how this attaches. I've just been setting it on his shoulder. It seems to set perfectly on the shoulder. It does not have the ability to utilize the blast effects that have come with everything Transformers over the past few years, because for some unknown GD reason, the designers of this were like, what? Blast effects? No. Why would we include blast effects? I mean, it's just something that's a gun that could have blast effects coming out of it. But why would we include the ability for all the blast effects that we've made over the past 4 years to be a part of this blast effect? To be a part of this? No. We made the hole just large enough to fit one of those G.I. Joe classified blast effects in. So go buy that $90 G.I. Joe classified set so you can have some blast effects. It's just... Why? Why are you going to do stuff like that, Hasbro? Why are you going to do stuff like that? You know, just overlook stuff. I love the Generations side of things, but the Studio Series side of things, at least the Baver Studio Series side of things, always confused me. All right, I love their Studio Series '86 collection, absolutely do. But this, regular Studio Series collections always miffed me in one way or another. So that's the Frieza unit. Let's talk about articulation. He can raise his arms up pretty far above his head because of his shoulders. He can also rotate them all 360 degrees, kind of, almost. These pipes in his back get in the way. He's got a lot of weird kibbly stuff that gets in the way from rotating his arms a lot. His arms, even though there's enough joints in there, they don't have any sort of butterfly, which is a shame. No double jointed elbow, which is another shame. The hand can open and shut, but the hand cannot rotate. The hand cannot move up or down. The hand is a static hand other than the ability to flap its fingers. Yes, flap those phalanges. Flap them good, because that's the only thing you can do on that side. And that's a shame. I paid a lot of money for this guy. $54 ain't cheap. And I was expecting a little more in the articulation department. I'll be straight with that one. The transformation's neat enough, but the guys who designed this transformer just, and I'm not talking to the toy designers. The toy designers had to work with what they had. And I think that every Transformers movie these characters should be designed first by the toy designers and have the toys built first, and then you make the movie about them. It's always worked better that way. Whenever you've had the toy first and you've made the thing second, it's always worked that way. What do you want, Cream? You want to bite me? You got my attention because you wanted to bite me. You. Silly guy. All right. So that's the articulation for the arms. You would think this tentacle arm could spin because, wouldn't that be cool? It does have a bicep swivel, but it's hard to get at. And it's very stiff. But there it is. It does have a swivel right around the elbow area. And you can actually bend the elbow backwards pretty far. There we go. Let's put that back. The tentacles do not spin on their own because of how things work, which is a shame. The tentacle thing would be cooler if it spun. They each open and shut, but they didn't include any sort of metal to allow you to bend the tentacles and make them your own little designs. Instead, you just get what they give you, which isn't really the greatest bent tentacles, because whenever they're all together, they don't close up to make some cool little cone design or something. They're all over the place and wrapped around each other. It's a mess. It's a mess. This figure feels like a mess. On the front of his body, we've got his head, which can move around. His head's got two joints. The upper joint, which allows the little crest head, which is the Terror symbol for the Terracons, the Terracon symbol. It can move 360 degrees on its own little port area. It can look up. It can look down. And then it's got another joint inside because of this big chain link thing that makes him have a long neck, and he can move left and right with that. Hi, Cream. And Cream, you're directly in front. Do you mind? Go, Cream. Okay. So, with this cat in the way, you can't see it at the moment. Cream, yes, I love you too. I love you too, little guy. I was just bragging about how you never come on this side. Go over there. So, the articulation department, we're still doing that. And there is no sort of waist tilt, core tilt. There's no sort of core articulation at all, but will rotate his hips, but they only rotate 45 degrees in each direction, almost 90 degrees in each direction, I should say, but that's not really a lot. You can raise his legs up at 90 degrees on the sides. He can kick forwards pretty far. He can kick forwards a decent distance. He can kick back decently as well. I think it's really neat that you can kick him forwards really far. He can almost kick himself in the head. Yeah. I think that's kind of neat. The range of motion you can get on this guy is really cool, and it would be really awesome. And there's some problems to him, so we'll talk about those soon. So that's the legs, at least the hip area. The knees are on a ratcheted joint. The only ratchet joint here, if you've watched my show long enough, you know what I feel about ratchet joints, in that I really love them in the hips, and I really love them in the the shoulders. You give me ratchets in the hips and the shoulders, you give me, you have a happy prime. Um, I also appreciate ratchets in the elbows whenever you're dealing with a figure that's smaller and doesn't have a lot of strength, because the ratchet in the shoulder can really help them stabilize heavier guns. The only reason there's ratchets in these knees is because these legs are so GD thin. They are so thin, and you need that extra stabilization, because they couldn't make thick knee joints for this guy, because for some reason he skipped out on leg day. Like he completely just decided leg day was not for him, and he decided to go drinking every leg day. He did upper body day. He did upper body day like mad. You see his neck muscles? Like, you see how thick his neck muscles are? Like, this guy has, he exercised his upper body, but when it came to leg day, he was like, nah, nah. Why do I need to run fast? Why do I need to have strong legs? I get to swing my sword and destroy them in one hit. Why do I need strong legs? That doesn't make any sense. At least that's the impression I'm getting from this, because his legs absolutely are trash. The knees make it where they actually work, because if they had any other sort of joint in there, this guy would be floppier than a half-cooked pancake. The Now we come down here to the feet, and the feet have the ankle tilt that we've known to grow and love since War for Cybertron days, and because of transformation, you can actually move the feet forwards. So you can actually put him in a couple of decent poses. He's got the ability to do that. Like, you can bend his knee, bend his knees, bend his knee there forward, and then we can bend his other knee backwards. You just keep squeezing up on my arm over here. What are you doing? And you can move the foot, and you can get him into a position that not many Transformers can ever get into, and that is the one knee position. This is not something that's common in Transformers. You can't get them in this position, and I do recommend that if you have this guy, you try to keep him in something akin to this more often than just standing up, because this is a little more stable, and if he falls, he's falling a lower distance. And it's a shame that that's the case, but now that we're done talking about articulation, we'll talk about sculpt work, and then I'll get into my feelings on this guy. So sculpt work wise, his feet are really narrow, they're really small, and he has no sort of heel, which is a shame. And interestingly enough, I had a choice between this guy and Skyquake for this video today, this video series this week, and I asked my viewers, like you, what y'all wanted, and somebody explained they said as Skurge is a better figure than Skyquake. They gave some reasons why they believed it was better. At least for me, they thought I would have more fun with the Skurge. Honestly, yeah, I have to say the transformation is a lot more fun. But interesting thing about both Skurge and Skyquake is people have been having problems with Skyquake's heels and how terrible they are, and the fact that Skyquake can fall over a lot. Skurge is the same way. They just missed out on making his feet large enough to handle this figure. So if you spin him around, the wheels on his legs, the very edge of the wheel shouldn't be longer than where the heel's at. Like, the heel should be just on the other side of that wheel. He should have a bit more of a heel, but he doesn't. He's got a heel that's sunken in to the point where there's weight on the other side of the heel, which can drag your figure backwards and can cause it not to work. And further, adding insult to injury, if he tries to fall forwards because of the way the feet work, he will, because they'll just come unjointed and just fall straight forwards. Like that one is right there. Okay. Now that's so let's talk sculpt work, and then I'm going to get into what I really feel. So we talked about the feet. The legs have some really nice armor plating on the sides, some little lines and stuff. Just the Michael Bay vomit of machine parts is what I just consider it, because it's all noise. There's so much going on there. It's all noise, in my opinion. The wheels for the truck mode. And by the way, truck mode, truck mode, truck mode. Everyone says truck mode. You hear it all the time about this guy. I'm going to be the first YouTuber to tell you straight up, this is some weird semi-truck without a trailer. This is a semi-truck that somebody decided to customize themselves. The fifth wheel is missing on the back of the semi truck, so you can't even add a trailer, even if you had a trailer, which I thought was a shame because I was like, oh, I'll just add the ER Prime trailer. Oh, wait, I can't. That's sad. So that's just something I wanted to make sure that you understood. This is a semi truck. We're talking we're talking how many wheels in a semi truck? Let's see, the two front wheels and then the four back and then the other four. So that's 8, 10 wheels. All right, so this is a 10-wheeled vehicle. All right, just remember that. Now, not all these wheels spin, and he's even missing the false wheels for the bottom layer, which is weird. They included the false wheels, like you feel on this side. They included a pair of false wheels for one of the 2 sets of tires in his legs, but they did not include a pair of false wheels for the second, which is just weird. Like, why are you going to do it for the top and not the bottom? Why? So many questions with this guy. So we're going to go up further. We got the gas can, what feels like a gas can. If you spin it around, you don't really get the gas can feel anymore to the side there. But I guess that's what it's supposed to be. It just didn't really work out that well. His crotch area feels more like a gearbox for the transmission gears in a vehicle. That's what I'm assuming it is. And it's just got a little extra stuff added to it, a little extra armor, but in actuality, in vehicle mode, it's just the gearbox. The which I guess is what they were going for. Well, the gearbox just moves the legs, so do. No, but the legs are still too thin. Then we come up here to his body mode. We've got all of the front of the truck is right here on, the grill, and the front bumper is all folded up nicely on the front of the robot mode here. There is apparently supposed to be a bunch of faction emblems just printed all over the place on this, but they did not etch any of them in. And if they had tried, there's so much noise going on the front of this vehicle with textures because it's got the bay vomit. It's really hard to figure out what's going on there. There's just too much. There's so much going on. You got all these chains. It feels like a chain and some wire stuff. I could talk about that for a while, trying to break down every individual texture, but I'm not. I'll let you figure that out yourself. He does have a cowl of chains that come up to his like weird Terracon head, and it's nice to be able to feel the Terracon symbol. I think it's really interesting that for my entire life I never had any Transformer that had a face like the faction symbol, but now I have the Arc with the Autobot face. I have Tarn with the Decepticon face, and now I have Skurge with the Terracon face. Now I just need a Maximal face and a Predacon face and a Quintesson face, and we're all good. Though I think the Quintessons always have Quintesson face. So there's that. The face is really neat, though. It's cool to be able to get finally a representation of the Terracon symbol, and it is just a terrifying symbol. You got the little horns, you got the bumpy bit in the middle, comes down here into the big open edge. It's sort of a weird, scary symbol. It's like a little demon. His arms are pretty thick. They're rounded. They're nice. His shoulders have these. They got some rivets in them for the hood of the vehicle because that's what these shoulders become. They become the hood, and it works out pretty well. And the transformation for that is really nice. The textures on the tentacles aren't really that great. You would think the tentacle texture would be a little more tentacly, but it's not. It feels more flat. And the back of him is a backpack that isn't the largest backpack, but it is kind of a very wide backpack, and it does get in the way a bit. And you can move these his weird pipes for his truck mode. You can like bend them down on either side. And I'm just going to say this: they didn't include any pipes in Motor Master. He had no vents. None of these smokestacks. No smokestacks for Motor Master. And then we get this guy, and he comes with 2 of them on each side. He comes with 4 smokestacks. You say you couldn't have gotten us 2 smokestacks for Motor Master. Like that is just the thing his vehicle mode is missing. It's just some smokestacks. And this guy got 4 of them. Like, why? Why are you going to get 4 smokestacks? And also, they're really nice smokestacks. I'm going to straight up say that. They got some hollowing in them, but there's some nice smokestacks. And they're longer than I thought they were. That is allowed. I didn't realize that the Transformers were allowed to do smokestacks of this length again. Maybe it's because you can break them off and they can each pop off their little joints. I don't know. But it's something that I wanted to bring to your attention is that these smokestacks are some of the longest I've seen in Transformers in a long time. And that's really cool. So that's it for his sculpt work. The I'll talk about the Terracon more tomorrow, but all you need to know for him is he doesn't contain a blast effect and he's got a nice feeling gun, but everything else is just kibble on the side. The thing I really wanted to talk to you about most is this: the legs on this guy are just too thin. I don't understand what Michael Bay has with thin legs. Why the Bay designs always have thin legs. It just you you just don't. I don't get it. You could make the legs thicker. You really could make the legs thicker, and then we could have a little more fun with them. They could be able to hold up better. The heel on the feet is just too thin. But I did discover if you turn the legs around, if you turn him into a chicken leg Michael Bay, he he actually grows more stable. So, because now the heel on the front, the heel on the back that was ruining the back stuff is now on the front, ruining the front stuff. So just pick these up, and there it goes. And then just move that like that, and there you go. Look at that chicken-legged Skurge. Yeah, he stands better in chicken leg mode than he does in regular mode. I just wanted to say that. So my overall rating of the robot mode for Skurge, and oh crap, I almost forgot to talk about one of the coolest things about this figure is his sword. So the sword's on these couple of hinges that folds up and around, and it just kind of falls into his hand. And then you unfold the sword itself, and it becomes a double-bladed sword thing. And then I'm just going to fold it into his hand, like so. It just collapses down into his hand, and then he's got a sword. He's got a nice sword. I like the swords that have like a dagger point at the bottom, where it's just the handle is a cut in the middle of the sword, and you have sword on the bottom, you got sword on the top. Yeah, I like his sword. His sword's one of my favorite parts about him, and I think you do the chicken leg design and you give him the sword, you got a very very odd looking transformer. And you know what? For nice little bonuses, we can throw the freezing unit onto his shoulder. Yeah, that's cool. I think. Yeah. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Please tune into my channel, blind_prime. I'm going to do the transformation video tomorrow. I'll also do a speed transformation video tomorrow. And on Thursday, I'll discuss his vehicle mode, and I'll talk the pros and cons on that one. Overall rating of this robot mode, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's got a lot of cool stuff going for it, but it's also got a lot of bad stuff going for it. So thanks for watching. One more time, that's Cream's butt in your face. And I hope you've enjoyed the show. Until next time, bye-bye for now.